Hello, welcome back to the workshop. It is fantastic to have you here. On today's episode, I'm going to be making some Mosaic Damascus. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm going to guide you through the process. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to take some 15N20 and some EN42J, which is equivalent to 1080 steel. Now, a lot of people ask me if you can make Damascus out of this or that or this or that. I would always just stick to the steels that the top knife makers out there are making their Damascus out of, which is 1084 or thereabouts, and 15N20. The 1084 is a high carbon, plain carbon steel. The 15N20, high carbon steel with a couple of percentage points of nickel. So of course, the whole idea with Damascus or pattern welded steel is that you forge it, you weld it all together, you grind it, you put it in acid. The carbon steel etches away. The nickel steel is a little more corrosion resistant. It stays there. So we're going to stack it up into a billet, and then I'm going to run some weld beads down it just to hold it all together. The only idea about that is so that once it's in the fire and until it's welded together, it's not all falling around. I usually stack them alternately. Sometimes I'll do different things if I'm trying to build a different aesthetic with a pattern. You'll notice I'm doing this with my gas forge. And that's a perfectly fine thing to do. If you've got a good gas forge that's properly insulated and you've got a good burner, your gas forge is going to get more than high enough to be able to weld your steel in. So that's a good thing. If you're using coal or coke, that's fine too. The only issue is then is you have to be a little more cautious about not burning it. What I'll do with that is I'm going to heat it up. I'm going to bring it to like a red temperature, and then I like to give it a hit or two under the power hammer or a little squeeze under the press just to close it up before it gets to the temperature at which it really starts oxidizing. Reason for this obviously being we want it to not have any scale built up in there. So if I seal it together, hopefully avoid getting the oxygen in there, I'll throw a little bit of flux on it, and from there it's back in the fire. Now, in terms of the temperature that you want to bring it out to, if you've been using flux, that flux is going to start bubbling when the steel becomes a very high yellow temperature. It's exactly what you want. From then, you're going to come out of the fire, and we're going to run to the power hammer or press, whatever you may have. And I don't want to go full out from the get-go, but I'll give it 1, 2, or 3 blows on the one side, a medium to hard hit, turn it over 180 degrees, 1, 2, 3, 4 again. Then I'll hit the sides. And you'll know if those first 6 blows didn't weld it, it'll almost like want to pop open when you hit the sides. That's when you know you don't have a proper weld. Once it's set, you can really go for it a little more. You can hit the steel a lot harder and start forging it after those first few blows. The weld's set, but another thing to be careful about is that you don't go below a yellow temperature in the first several welding heats. You really want to establish the weld by working in the welding temperatures rather than working all the way down to a red as you might if you're working a normal, completely homogeneous steel. One of the super simple little pattern manipulations you can do, this is called making W's as far as I'm aware. So what you do is you have your square block, the lines are going straight up and down, and then what we're going to do is we're going to turn it on the diagonal and we're going to start heavily rounding off these corners. What that does is that kind of begins to cut that pattern over, and just like if you had to take 2 strands of spaghetti and apply downwards pressure, if we hit in this direction and make a rectangle that cuts it over even more and makes it much more aggressive, and it then has the appearance of W's if you then stack this up on another and it repeats up there. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, once I forge that out into a rectangular shape, is I'm going to grind off the surfaces that are going to weld together. The next step is going to be creating a stack of W's like this, then re-squaring it on the diagonal. Okay, so now I have this piece machined, and it's nice and perfectly square and as flat as that clapped out Bridgeport will allow it to be. And what I've done is I have it marked out, and I'm going to cut this into 3 pieces. I'm going to have 3 pieces, then I'm going to turn them up on end, weld them this way so I have a repeating pattern. There are many ways that you can create a repeating kind of mosaic. This is one of the simpler ways, and it works pretty well. It's pretty effective too. So I'm going to light the forge again, cut this up, tack weld it together, and do a little more forge welding. So I'm going to finish off this video by showing you a quick little rough etch of these 3 repeating explosion patterns. This is the pattern that got me into Damascus making, and it was taught to me so generously and graciously by David Lish. Go check out his work on Instagram. He's an incredible knife maker. Thank you very much for watching this video. Go ahead and leave a comment below guessing what you think I'm going to make out of this Damascus Steele billet tomorrow on the next episode. Be sure to hit a like, that helps out a lot. Hit subscribe, and also put aside $25 because at the end of this week I'm going to have another run of t-shirts about to go live. A new design, kind of an epic design. I can't wait to get my own hands on one, and I'm sure that you're not going to be able to wait too. Those t-shirts will probably come live on Friday or Saturday. I'll let you guys all know in a future video. Anyway, have a great one. It's a pleasure as always. I'll see you tomorrow.